Hi children, good morning. Welcome back to the class. Dear children, you know very well we are discussing 6th chapter from gathering food to growing food, the earliest people, part 2. In part 1, we have discussed already who are called earliest people, what food did they eat, how are the earliest people got their food, where did they live, what tools were they used, and why were they moved from place to place. Dear children, in this video we are going to discuss about hunter-gatherers in our times, from gathering to growing food, learning to grow crops and tend animals, domestication, settled life, Neolithic period in Telangana. Let's look into the lesson. We have learnt already the people who lived some thousands of years ago are called early people or earliest people. We also learnt that the earliest people were called hunter-gatherers. Why? Because they gathered their food by hunting and gathering. Dear children, have you ever seen hunter-gatherers? Are there any hunter-gatherers living till today? If they are living, where are they living? What are they doing? How they are gathering their food? What is their lifestyle? Yes, there are still some hunter-gatherers are living in different parts of the world. Even now, several groups of people sustain themselves by hunting and gathering food in different parts of the world. They are depending by collecting fruits, roots, and by killing the animals and birds for their food. For example, Eskimos. Dear children, do you know where are they living? These Eskimos are living the largest island in the world, Greenland, situated in the North Polar region. We know already this is the coldest region and the human beings cannot live comfortably. This area remains covered with ice and snow throughout the year. Dear children, in this region, cultivation is not possible. The people do not grow any crops. Why? Because the land is covered with ice and snow. So that's why the people depend on hunting. They hunt seals, walruses, whales, and polar bears. One more famous tribe is also there in the Congo. They are pygmies. They lived in the equatorial forests of Congo. The country Congo is situated in Africa. It is an African country. They are short in height. Most of the pygmies lead a nomadic life. Hunting is their main occupation. Fishing and collecting fruits and roots of wild trees are also their sources of income. They even eat wild ants and bees. They are very fond of bananas. They are very good archers. They are very strong, fearless, and daring. They live in small huts made up of branches of trees. They wear a stripe of bark or skin cloth or a bunch of leaves around their waists. They use bows and arrows and short spears as weapons. Bantu is also an important tribal community in Congo. Most of the Congolese are Bantu Negroes. From these two examples, what have we understood, children? Till today, in different parts of the world, there are hunter-gatherers. They are living as like early men. Are there any hunter-gatherers in our Telangana state too? If they are, where are they? Who are they? Yes, there are hunter-gatherers in our Telangana state too. They are Yanadis and Chenchus. Who are they, children? They are Yanadis and Chenchus. The Chenchus are Telugu-speaking food-gathering tribe living in the Nallamalai forests of both Telangana and Andhra Pradesh. They spread over the districts of Mahbubnagar, Nagar Karnool in Telangana and Kurnool, Prakasam and Guntur in Andhra Pradesh. Yanadis. The Yanadis live in Andhra Pradesh in Nellore, Chittoor and Prakasam districts. Not only these people, but also other communities like Savara, Kondadora, Gadaba, Gond, Mannedora, Mukadora and Koyas lived in this manner till very recently. They lived in forests and they got their food by collecting different roots and fruits and by killing the animals. Dear children, to understand the early man's life, the scholars are still studying different communities in different parts of the world. Satya Mohan sir is one of the scholars. He was studied about the Chenchus, those who are living in both Telangana and Andhra Pradesh. Let's watch the video.
మనే కోయిలమ్మ పాట వినవే ఆ కోయిలమ్మ పాట వినవే పచ్చ పచ్చని చెట్టు పూలు నవ్వి నన్ను చెట్టు తల్లి మనసు కనవే అది తేనె చెలికినట్టు కలవే చెట్టు తల్లి మనసు కనవే అది తేనె చెలికినట్టు కలవే కొండల కోనల్ల పూకు మనే కోయిలమ్మ పాట వినవే ఆ కోయిలమ్మ పాట వినవే పచ్చ పచ్చని చెట్టు పూలు నవ్వి నన్ను చెట్టు తల్లి మనసు కనవే అది తేనె చెలికినట్టు కలవే చెట్టు తల్లి మనసు కనవే అది తేనె చెలికినట్టు కలవే తేనె చెలికినట్టు కలవే ఓ
Dear children, by watching these videos, what have we understood? Still, there are hunter-gatherers in different places. Still, they are depending, hunting and gathering. These hunter-gatherers are living in groups. They are cooperating with each other and they are collecting the food and they are sharing among themselves. So there are different community groups are there in different areas. Dear children, did the early people also live together? Did they also share their food among themselves? Let us find out the answers. Why did the early people share their work, food and shelter and other resources with other members in that group? How did the hunter-gatherers gather their food? We discussed already that the early people lived in small groups and they led a nomadic life. Groups of related families united in bands to collect roots, nuts, fruits, and seeds. They also hunted together. By cooperating together, they met their basic needs for food, clothing, and shelter. So that is why the people shared their life with other members. In that groups, most of the members of a group belonged to the same family. They were shared their works among themselves. In that families, women and children were more active in food gathering and hunting of small animals. I am repeating once again. Women and children were more active in food gathering and hunting of small animals. And the men were hunting large animals. To hunt that large animals, they went far off places, very distant places, and this may have taken a long time to track that animals. So the men hunted large animals. To hunt that animals, they made different tools for different purposes. After hunting and gathering their food, hunter-gatherers shared the food they collected with all the members of the group. They did not fight with each other. They shared all the food among themselves equally. Why did the hunter-gatherers share their food among them? We discussed already. The hunter-gatherers gathered meat, fish, fruits, leaves, tubers, and small quantities of wild grains and pulses. These were easily perishable. That means they were not stored for longer time. The food they collected was perished so quickly, and there was no storage facilities for them, and it would be difficult to carry that food. The food we eat today does not perish so quickly. We also have jars and tins to store them for months, and we have also a refrigerator to store the food. But the earliest people did not store the food. Why? Because they did not have any refrigerators, jars as like we. And it was also very difficult for them to carry that food which they collected, which they gathered when they were migrated from place to place. So the hunter-gatherers shared their food among themselves. Why were there no poor people among them? Why were there no differences among them? Just now we have discussed already that hunter-gatherers shared all the food among themselves, and every member of that group had free access to the resources of the forests. So the hunter-gatherers did not have any rich or poor classes among them. They were all equal and treated each other equally. They also took all the important decisions by discussing them together. Why the hunter-gatherers thanked the animals they killed, and why the foresters were worshipped? Even though they hunted for wild animals, hunter-gatherers had a great respect and regard for the forests, plants, trees, animals, rivers, and hills. They often worshipped them so that they may get enough food all the time. From gathering to growing food. How were the hunter-gatherers changed their lifestyle from gathering to growing food? When they started growing crops. The hunter-gatherers started growing crops only about 12,000 years ago. I am repeating once again. They started growing crops only about 12,000 years ago. How did they learn growing crops? What changes were happening at that time? Why did they change their lifestyle? Let's find out. Around 12,000 years ago, there were major changes in the climate of the world. The temperature became very warm. The temperature was increased. So this was led to great changes in the natural vegetation. So most of the forests turned into grasslands. So grass was grown in different areas in the different parts of the world. These grasslands provided fodder for grazing animals like cattle, sheep, and goats. They also provided food grains for the hunter gatherers. Learning to grow crops and tend animals. When the hunter gatherers started living near the grasslands, they got more food grains and more flesh or meat from the grass eating animals. Then the hunter gatherers got the idea to grow the crops and to rear the animals which they access easily. Then they started thinking how to grow the crops, how to rear the animals. When the hunter gatherers got the idea to grow the crops, then they started observations. Probably men, women, and children observed the places where edible plants were found, and they also observed how new plants sprouted from the seeds. By their observations and years of experience, they learned that if the seeds are planted in the ground and watered, they will grow into the new plants. They collected different seeds which gives more food grains. Perhaps they sowed the seeds in the ground and watering whenever they required. They protected the plants from the birds and animals until the grains ripened. Perhaps this was led to the gathering food to growing food. Which crops did they grow? They grown paddy, wheat, barley, pulses, millets, tubers and vegetables. I'm repeating once again. They grown paddy, wheat, barley, pulses, millets, tubers and vegetables. So different people in different places learnt how to grow the crops. They discussed with each other. When people came into contact with each other, they learnt from each other how to grow and use different kinds of crops and vegetables. So they learnt from each other. In this way, different groups of people in different parts of the world became farmers. So many people changed their lifestyle from gathering food to growing food. They became farmers. Dear children, the hunter-gatherers not only produced the crops, they also reared the animals. The moment ago we discussed already, the forest is turned into grasslands. When the grasslands were grown in different parts of the world, the number of grass-eating animals were also increased. The hunter-gatherers who hunted these animals now followed them and learning about their food habits and their breeding seasons. This helped people to start thinking about herding and rearing these animals themselves. People may have allowed gentle animals to come near their camps and eat grass and other leftover food. They may also have protected these animals from other wild dangerous animals. Then slowly the animals were tamed by the people. Dear children, do you know which was the first tamed animal? Yes, dog. The first animal to be tamed was the dog. Later, people encouraged other animals as sheep, goat, cattle, and also pig. They tamed these animals and they became herders. In this process, the herders got plenty of benefits like regular supply of meat, animal skin, and milk. So the hunter gatherers became herders. Later, they started using oxen and donkeys for carrying loads and plowing the fields. People started producing crops and rearing animals. They produced the food from the crops and the animals, but that food was not enough for their needs. Why? Why? Because the population was increasing. To get the more food grains or more meat, people were searched high yielding varieties. To get the more food grains and meat, people usually selected those plants and animals that give good yields but are not prone to diseases. Whenever they got high yielding varieties of seeds and breeds of animals, they were selected and they used these breed and seeds for the next year. Seeds of such crops are selected and used for sowing in the next season, and only animals of selected types are allowed to breed. Like this, plants and animals tended by people became different from the wild animals. This is called domestication. What is it, children? It is called domestication. When people so selected the crops and protect them till they bear fruit, or when they allow selected animals to breed and protect them for their own use, then it is called domestication. Dear children, of course, this domestication process was not started at the same time all over the world. Not all the people took to growing crops and rearing animals at the same time. Many people still continued to hunt and gather in the forests. Still they were as hunter-gatherers. And again, not all the people practiced agriculture in the same way. Different people followed different methods. At the beginning, many people practiced shifting agriculture called Podu agriculture. We have already discussed about this in Pengolu lesson. In this Podu cultivation or the shifting cultivation, people got few food grains for their family. So they didn't get more grains. So they need more food grains for their family. So that is why the people wanted to change their agricultural system, and to produce more food grains, the people went to far off places in search of fertile lands. By changing their methods, some of the people realized that the fertility of the soil could be maintained by tilling and using manure. When they began using the plough and animal manure, they did not have to go in search of new fertile lands every few years. By using the animal's manure, they got more production, more produce. So that's why the people used animals in their farming. The people not only used the animals for manuring, but also ploughing and transportation and other purposes. Dear children, we knew already the hunter-gatherers are called nomads. They moved from place to place in search of food and shelter. But the hunter-gatherers changed their lifestyle from nomadic life to sedentary life. That means they did not move from place to place. They settled in one place. Why did the hunter-gatherers settle in one place? Why did the hunter-gatherers build their homes instead of living caves? Let's know the reasons. When people began growing plants, They had to stay in the same place for a long time to look after the plants, for watering, weeding, driving away the animals and birds which disturbs the crop till the grain ripened. At the harvest time, they also got so much grain that they could not eat it at all at once. So it had to be stored for long periods, nearly about 6 months to 1 year. So the people had to stay in one place and build houses to store the grain. So the people started building their houses near the grasslands which they grown to look after the crop and to store the food grains after the harvest. So that's why the people settled in one place. When people started living in one place, they constructed huts of stone, wood, mud, and dried grass. Slowly, this process was led to village life. So, villages were started at this stage. And in this process, new occupations were also started as potters, cobblers, carpenters, and different occupations were also started in this period. Dear children, all these changes, farming, rearing animals, and different occupations were started about 10,000 years ago in different parts of the world. Dear children, all these changes were happened during Neolithic period. Neolithic period means new stone age. Neo means new, litho means stone. Neolithic means new stone age. Archaeologists have found stone tools from many sites. Many of these are different from the earlier Paleolithic tools, and that is why they are called Neolithic. When archaeologists dug up the places where early farmers lived, they usually found remains of huts, pots, stoves, microliths, and grinding stones. In some places, they also found some roasted grain. Let us discuss one by one. Why did the early people use the pots? The early people used the pots for storing the food. For keeping the food grains for a longer period, they started making baskets out of wild grass and applied clay around it. Later, they started baking clay vessels also. People began using pots for cooking food, especially grains like rice and wheat. Archaeologists have also found beautiful decorated pots which were used to store the food grains and to cook the food. The people were also used mortars and pestles for grinding grain and other plant produce. Even today we are using these tools to grind the grains several thousand years later. The early farmers needed to clear the forests by cutting trees and branches. So they created a new kind of stone tool which is called neolith. The early farmers selected the right kind of stone which was ground on the rocks to give it an axe-like edge. This axe head was then fixed to a wooden handle and used to cut trees, etc. By growing crops with the new tools, the early people began a process which changed almost all the aspects of their lives in a fundamental manner. This period of early agriculture is called Neolithic period, named after the new tool neolith. We find the earliest evidence of cultivation of crops from Balochistan about 10,000 years ago, which is now situated in Pakistan. In India, there are evidences in Kashmir around 5,000 years ago and Bihar some 4 to 5,000 years ago. The cultivation started in these sites nearly 4 to 5,000 years ago. The earliest evidence of domestication in the Deccan comes from the border of Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, and Karnataka. In these states, large amounts of ash were found in a number of places. Archaeologists believe that around 5,000 years ago, hunters of these areas began to rear cattle. The cattle were pegged in special places where a lot of cow dung was accumulated and dried. Archaeologists have also found ash mounds in our Telangana state and Andhra Pradesh, probably set on fire on festival days, causing these ash mounds. Such ash mounds are found in Nagar Karnool in our Telangana state and Karnool and Anantapur in Andhra Pradesh. Along with cow dung ash, Neolithic stone axes, stone blades, and rudimentary handmade parts were also found in these sites. Dear children, we knew this is called Neolith, means hand axe. This was found at Amrabad in Nagar Karnool. And these Neolithic stone tools made by grinding stones excavated in Serupalli, Mehboob district. Like this, number of Neolithic sites have been found in Warangal rural, Warangal urban, Janagaon, Jaishankar Bhupalapalli district, Siddipet, Nagar Karnool, Mehboob Nagar, Karim Nagar, and Adilabad districts, and ground stone tools have been collected. The excavations at Palakonda in Warangal district have brought to light a hearth of burnt clay along with a large number of microliths, handmade pots, and jars for storing grain. People seem to have lived here about 3,300 years ago. Dear children, till now we have discussed about hunter-gatherers, how they were changed their lifestyle. I hope you understood very well. Thank you.